Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with reference recordings. And today we're talking about Tchaikovsky ballet suites. That is, collections of the ballet suites from the three great ballets, the Nutcracker, Sleeping Beauty, and Swan Lake, obviously, yes. Okay. That's the way we used to hear the Tchaikovsky ballets. Nowadays, of course, it's common to have complete performances of all of them. And, God knows it's wonderful because the music is terrific. The level of inspiration is so consistently high. And the fact that we like complete ballets means that we've gotten away from the idea that, only like symphonies and things in large sonata forms are worth listening to if they last longer than 10 minutes. I think it's wonderful that we hear complete ballets and things like that. However, for most of our lives, we just heard various suites. And they're delicious and marvelous, and there's nothing wrong with that, nothing at all. And the great conductors, all of the great conductors, recorded Tchaikovsky ballet suites, including the great Tchaikovsky conductors. We've talked about them, people like Ormandy and Karajan and Mravinsky and people like that. They tended to prefer to do the ballets in suite form because they were used to programming them in normal concerts. It was only much, much later when Antal Dorati sort of broke ground doing the complete Tchaikovsky ballets for Mercury Living Presence that we began to hear all of them and know what they sounded like. And then, of course, everybody started doing it. But generally speaking, the huge name conductors, the big wigs, tended to stick with doing the suites because they didn't conduct ballets in the theater, number one, and they weren't interested in exploring, niche repertoire, which the complete ballets really were. So that means that there are lots and lots and lots of recordings of Tchaikovsky ballet suites, and most people would have chosen their favorite among the people who they like doing Tchaikovsky. So like I said, people like Ormandy and Karajan and stuff like that. Or, if you were following Leonard Bernstein or if you were following Thomas Beecham or, any of those people, they did suites. However, there is a recording that came out, which when it came out, the whole world sat up and said, "Whoa, baby, do me. This is the reference, the reference recording for Tchaikovsky ballet suites." And it is indeed. My goodness, it's this one. Rostropovich with the Berlin Philharmonic on Deutsche Grammophon. Now, you get the three ballet suites. You get Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, and Nutcracker. And if you have this album, put on the opening of Sleeping Beauty. Dum bum ba da 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 dum dum bum ba da. Wow! It just knocks you through the back wall. Now, Rostropovich, when he made this, this was in 1979. He was not known really as a conductor. He did, to his credit, he stuck with Russian music that he knew, as opposed to a cellist where he could play anything. But as a conductor, he stuck to Russian music, and his conducting was always a little bit heavy. He didn't have the chops to play with the kind of freedom that he played, that he had when he played the cello. So, his Tchaikovsky symphonies were stodgy. They were okay. They had some wonderful moments, but they were a little stodgy. He made opera recordings with his wife, Galina Vishnevskaya, who, by the way, resented it, at least initially. She really did not like him working with her and conducting opera because she felt that he was trespassing on her territory, and that wasn't where his true gifts lay. So, of course, over time, he got better. His Shostakovich cycle had some marvelous performances. And, I saw him for years because he was conductor of the National Symphony in Washington when I was at Johns Hopkins as an undergraduate in the late 70s and early 80s. So I got to see him. He did the best ever Hail to the Redskins when they were in the Super Bowl. So, he could do things. And at my college graduation, he did Mahler too. And I was there with me and my brother and my grandmother. We all went because we all had to stay an extra day. And wow, was that a performance. Oh my God, it was thrilling. I mean, so he learned to conduct. But we're talking 1979. So this was the year I started my undergraduate career. And here he is in Berlin doing these Tchaikovsky ballet suites. And something just clicked. First of all, he had the Berlin Philharmonic, and the Berlin Philharmonic recorded all this stuff with Karajan. So there's no question they knew it and they could play it. And they were a wonderful Tchaikovsky orchestra under Karajan because that was one of his, major composers. I mean, he had arguably more affinity for Tchaikovsky than he did for Beethoven. So yeah, I mean, they knew how to play this stuff. But he, Rostropovich would just get up there and emote. And you get a sense in hearing this, that the orchestra really was looking for a chance to just let go, because Karajan would never let them do that. Karajan always had his, he had to Karajanize everything with the beautiful strings and all this stuff. And he had his eyes closed and he would just sit there and move his hands. And he wasn't like all that flexible in terms of tempo quite often. But Rostropovich was just the opposite. Rostropovich would be all over the place. And they just lit into this. I mean, they play like demons. It's phenomenal and extremely well recorded. And when this recording came out, I remember reading the reviews. And I just remember everybody saying, wow, that is the Tchaikovsky ballet. I keep saying opera. The Tchaikovsky ballet suite record that you absolutely have to have. It's the one by which all others will be judged. It is the reference for anyone who wants to know how to play the trepak and the Nutcracker suite, at lightning fast tempos with rhythmic precision and point, and the yummy waltzes and the rose adagio and all of that stuff here. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I listen to it whenever I want to hear this music. I mean, you really should, because it's so beautiful. And where is this? There's this thing here. Yes, there's the adagio and the panorama, and the waltz from Sleeping Beauty. And what can I say? It's all gorgeous. And DG was absolutely right, by the way, to reissue it in its originals series. That's a stunner. So if you want like your Tchaikovsky ballet suites, not only is this the reference, but it's also one of those references that's out there because it's like the best one. It really is. It's just tremendously amazing. So go for it and keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.